Disaster 3. Gifts everywhere. Morning light slid across the kitchen floorboards, soft as flour dust. The oven hummed low, stretching after its night's work. I was halfway through my porridge, sparks still groggy and sputtering from last night's disaster, when Aunt Brenna's voice cut through the room. Gone. She stood by the counter, her glow clipped at the edges, holding an empty basket. Her lips pressed so thin they almost disappeared. Uncle Vedran leaned on the doorframe, one boot on, one boot off, glow dim as a banked coal. He squinted at the basket like maybe the fruit was just hiding under its own shine. Gone where? All of them, Aunt Brenna said, shaking the basket so hard it squeaked against her palm. I picked 12 glow fruit yesterday. 12. Not a single one left this morning. I nearly choked on my porridge. 12. That's enough to light a whole barn. I slapped my chest like I was about to faint. First bread, now glow fruit. Aunt Brenna, we are under siege. The oven hummed a doubtful note, low and skeptical, like it thought even calling it a siege was overdramatic. Uncle Vedran rubbed his jaw, glow flickering with thought. Could be kids snuck them. Or graskers nosed their way in. He tilted his head toward the barn. Or maybe they rolled off on their own. Glow fruit get ideas sometimes. Aunt Brenna's lips pressed thinner, her glow flaring at the edges. It wasn't just anger, I could feel the tired worry under it, the kind that said she cared too much to laugh this off. Uncle Vedran raised his hands in mock surrender, but his glow steadied, calm as always. I'm only saying, Brenna, if this thief is real, they're bold. Bread yesterday, glow fruit today? Sounds like someone wants your attention. Aunt Brenna muttered something about fools with wild theories, then thudded the basket onto the counter hard enough to rattle the spoons. Her eyes swung to me, sharp as a shard of crystal. Kelri, finish your porridge. Then you will sweep the porch, fetch water. And patch the tear in your tunic. No shadow chasing today. My glow prickled, caught between dread and excitement. Leave it to Aunt Brenna to hand me the perfect disguise without even knowing it. I straightened, nearly sloshing porridge down my front. That's perfect cover. A thief never suspects the girl with chores. Chores, Aunt Brenna repeated, but softer now, like she wanted the word to stick without crushing me. Yes, I said quickly, sparks fizzing traitorously. Chores. Of course. She didn't buy it. She never buys it. Uncle Vedran pulled on his second boot and stretched. Best do as Aunt Brenna says, Kelri. Chores first, then save the world. His glow pulsed steady and calm, like even 12 stolen glow fruit couldn't rattle him. I shoved down the last bite of porridge, already plotting. If the thief thought I'd give up after bread, they didn't know Kelri of no bread belly. They didn't know I was just warming up. This was bigger. This was war. Even chores couldn't stop me, not when chores could become missions if you tilted them sideways enough. The chores didn't slow me down. If anything, they made the perfect disguise. I swept the porch like a soldier sweeping for clues. I hauled water like I was hauling evidence. Even patching my tunic felt like stitching together the mystery. Every spark that slipped from my fingertips was a flare saying, I'm on the case. Which meant everyone I passed, neighbor, cousin, even the caravan helpers, was suddenly a suspect under my watchful eye. Down the lane, saw Harla trudge with her basket, the handle pulling her shoulders crooked. The thing sagged heavy against her hip, and the glow around her elbows was brighter than usual, pulsing with effort. My eyes narrowed. Yesterday she hadn't carried anything that large. Today? Practically a mountain. Suspicious, I whispered. Very suspicious. She paused to adjust the strap, and I swear, I saw a faint shimmer leaking through the weave. Glowfruit juice? My sparks jumped on cue. I ducked behind the porch rail, broom clutched like a spear. Case file number 2, Saharla. Possible fruit smuggler. By the time I fetched water from the well, my list of suspects had grown longer than Aunt Brenna's chore list. A trader's apprentice staggered when his boot caught on a stone in the road, nearly spilling the sack of herbs from his back. He muttered that he should have been watching his step. I knew better. Only a guilty conscience makes you stumble like that. A Grove-born trader haggled with a farmer over turnips, his glow sticky at the edges. Sap smeared his hands, and one streak glistened faint gold in the sun. Glow fruit juice disguised as sap? Or sap disguised as glow fruit juice? Either way, guilty. And then there was Fennel, my cousin, pretending to help with the laundry line. She stretched the cloth tight, her sparks flaring every time she yanked a pin. Too flary. Too jittery. Practically confessing with her fingertips. I scribbled it all into my chalkstone notebook, tongue poking from the corner of my mouth. The pages glowed faint where my sparks kissed the surface. Case notes, suspects everywhere. Evidence, glowing, sticky, clumsy, jittery. Probability, 100% one of them is the thief. By the time I hauled the water bucket back, Aunt Brenna was kneading dough, her glow pulsing steady with every fold. Uncle Vedran sat nearby repairing a net, his glow dim but patient. I dropped the bucket with a splash that nearly soaked my shoes. Progress report, I announced, sparks dancing proudly across my palms. Aunt Brenna didn't look up. I asked you for water, not reports. Uncle Vedran's mouth twitched, though his eyes stayed on the net. Let's hear it anyway. I puffed up my chest. 3 prime suspects so far. 4, if you count Fennel, and I definitely count Fennel. They're practically dripping with guilt. Dripping with mud, more like, Aunt Brenna muttered, pressing her fists into the dough. I ignored her. Saharla's basket glowed. I saw it with my own eyes. The trader's apprentice stumbled right in front of me. And that Grove-born had sticky hands, covered in glow fruit sap, don't try to tell me it wasn't. Uncle Vedran threaded a knot, glow steady. Sap looks like a lot of things in the sun, Kelri. Exactly. Perfect cover. I smacked the chalkstone down on the table so hard the oven gave a nervous hum. But I'm on to them. Tonight, I'll catch the real thief. Red glowed. Aunt Brenna finally looked at me, her glow steady but tired. You will finish your chores. You will not accuse half the village because you saw baskets and sap. But Aunt Brenna. Her eyes flicked to my sparks, still crackling bright. She shook her head, flour dusting her arms. Dramatics don't solve anything. Uncle Vedran gave a low chuckle, tying off the net. Careful, Brenna. Dramatics do make for good stories. Aunt Brenna shot him a look sharp enough to silence even him. I hugged my chalkstone to my chest, glow prickling. Maybe Aunt Brenna didn't believe me. Maybe Uncle Vedran only half believed me. But I knew. The clues were glowing all around me. By the time the sun tipped past noon, my plan was ready. A sting. A reveal. A performance so dazzling the whole village would know I was right. I marched to the green with my broom spear tucked under one arm and my chalkstone notebook clutched to my chest. Sparks hissed along my fingertips, trailing behind me like I was leading a parade. Uncle Vedran trailed a few steps back, net still draped over one shoulder. His glow pulsed steady, lazy, like he was humoring me. Aunt Brenna came too, though from the look on her face, she was less supportive audience and more damage control. The green buzzed with its usual midday rhythm. Traders haggled, children darted between stalls, and a Grove-born fiddled with vines twining out of his crates. All ordinary. Too ordinary. Exactly how thieves liked it. I cleared my throat and muttered, "Attention, please, just to test it." Then louder. With sparks fizzing down my arm, "Citizens of the Green." A few heads turned. Mostly, people went on talking. Too calm. Too ordinary. This called for more. I scrambled onto a crate, broom spear raised like a battle flag. Sparks hissed and popped in the air, one loud enough to make a grasker in the pen snort. The crate wobbled under me, but I steadied myself with great dignity, chest puffed out. "Hear ye?" I tried, broom spear wobbling. "By order of justice." That didn't sound right. Too stiff. I lifted my chin, sparks snapping bright around my fists. "The thief walks among us." That earned me a pause. One Dawnborn woman blinked at me. A child snorted. Uncle Vedran rubbed his jaw, glow flickering, as though wishing the crate would swallow me whole. I jabbed the broom spear toward Saharla, who was shifting her basket against her hip. "You. First our bread, now our glow fruit, you've smuggled them under the noses of the innocent. But not under mine." This time, more heads turned. Whispers rippled. Someone muttered, "Bread?" Another said, "Glow fruit?" Aunt Brenna's glow flared sharp as she stepped forward, hand raised as if to swat my sparks out of the air. "Kelri, enough." Her voice was tight, warning. But it was too late. Saharla froze, glow bristling, not amused in the least. She jabbed a finger toward Aunt Brenna. "Stealing? From your own house? And this child dares shout it in front of everyone?" The crowd leaned closer, whispers sharpening. I clutched my chalkstone to my chest and pointed the broom spear again. "Don't play innocent." I saw the shimmer. I saw how heavy that basket was. Case file number 2, guilty. Saharla's lips pressed thin, her glow bristling like nettles. "Brenna, you know me better than this. If your girl wants to play detective, let her do it without dragging my name through the dirt." Aunt Brenna pinched the bridge of her nose, glow pulsing sharp with frustration. "Kelri. You've embarrassed us enough." Gasps and chuckles spread through the onlookers. With a grunt, Saharla plunked her basket down hard enough to rattle the boards. "Go on then, detective. Prove it." My glow flared brighter. Finally. The moment of truth. I strode forward, broom spear tucked like a general's sword, chalkstone raised high so the crowd could see I had evidence. Sparks fizzed along my fingertips as if they already knew I was right. A few villagers leaned in, murmuring, their glow flaring curious. I planted myself beside the basket and nodded, smug. Saharla yanked back the cloth. "Turnips. Lumpy, dirt-dusted, plain old turnips. No bread. No glow fruit. Not even crumbs." My sparks fizzled so fast they left smoke trails in the air. Heat rushed into my ears. "Those are decoys," I croaked, but even I could hear how weak it sounded. A ripple of laughter broke loose, louder this time. My sparks, still buzzing from my glorious strut, snapped sideways and landed in the Groveborn's herb crate. The man yelped, batting at the glow. His vines surged out on instinct, coiling around the ankles of a mistborn nearby. The mistborn jerked back, panicked, and his gift flared too strong. The air shimmered around him, and in a blink he slipped free of the tangle. Not gently. He shot sideways across the grass like a stone skipping water, legs flailing, trailing the vines that clung to him. He careened straight into a Dawnborn with a lantern. The lantern burst white, pouring light like a waterfall. Villagers shrieked, covering their eyes as the square blazed brighter than noon. A child squealed with delight and tried to mimic the flare. Sparks shot wild from his hands, catching his sleeve. His mother shrieked, her glow spiking sharp as crystal, igniting the laundry she'd strung nearby. And then the green dissolved into pandemonium. Sparks crackled across the grass. Vines writhed like snakes. People slipped, stumbled, and shouted, gifts going off in every direction. The whole village is exploding. I shrieked, sparks whirling around me. Then one zapped my own sleeve. Oops. Uncle Vedran freed his boot from the vine, rubbing the back of his neck as if the whole green was staring at him too. His glow dimmed, embarrassed, though the corner of his mouth still twitched. Well, it'll make a story. Aunt Brenna's glow burned sharp as she strode through the mess, apron snapping like a banner as she swatted sparks aside. Enough. Her voice sliced through the noise cleaner than a crystal shard. The crowd stilled, as still as a crowd trussed in vines and littered with glowing turnips could be. All eyes shifted to me. My broom spear drooped. Sparks dribbled down my arm like guilty crumbs. Aunt Brenna turned to me, her glow steady but weary. Turnips, Kelri. Not bread. Not glow fruit. Turnips. My cheeks flamed hotter than my sparks. The crowd began to chuckle and drift away, shaking their heads. Saharla scooped up her basket of turnips with a sniff. I had evidence, I mumbled. You had dramatics, Aunt Brenna said, folding her arms. The square returned to its usual hum, though the grass bore scorch marks and more than one turnip had rolled under the stalls. My dignity lay somewhere under there too, flattened like dough under a rolling pin. I hugged my chalkstone notebook close, sparks flickering low. Then I saw it, just beyond the green. A faint trail, a glowing smear on the grass, leading toward the Grasker pens. My glow flared. Maybe Saharla was innocent. Maybe all of them were. But the thief who had stolen both our bread and our glow fruit had left a mark this time. Tomorrow, I'd catch them. For real.